Hi and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. My name is Isabel Ross and I'm the coach of Peak Endurance Coaching. Episode 90, can you believe it? So close to 100, is an interview with Tegan Geall, winner of the 2021 Two Bales Trail Run 56 kilometre female category. Tegan won the race in 5 hours and 15 minutes. She actually also won the Prom 44k race just a few weeks before. In this interview, we discuss her race, her training leading into it, and what's next on the agenda for her. As we all know, running is a tough sport and we runners are a tough bunch. However, this sometimes leads us to training through niggles and pains just because we love running so much. But we would honestly be so much better off if we got them looked at and sorted out. If you are tired of running with niggles, aches and pains and thus ruining your enjoyment of your sport, come in and see the specialists at Health and High Performance. They utilise the latest in technology and experience to help you get back to your running best. And don't we all want to be there? So head to healthhp.com.au/run and book an appointment so that you can ensure you can run strong and free for 2021. You can also find them on Instagram, Health High Performance, where they post heaps of helpful videos and other posts. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. I really appreciate the people who are taking the time to go on over to Apple Podcasts to rate and review and subscribe. If you enjoy this episode, I ask if you could go and do the same. I've been aiming for 100 reviews by Easter this year, but I don't think I'm going to make it, sadly. And so I'm looking at a plan B. We'll see, maybe 60. At Peak Endurance Coaching, I can coach athletes to run any distance, on any surface, whether it's road, track, trail, mountains, from beginners to advanced athletes. If you are interested, email me, isabel@peakendurancecoaching.com.au, so that I can help you with a structured, individualised plan that takes into account your life and your running needs. Enjoy this interview with Tegan. Hi Tegan, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Hi Izzy, thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, can you just, for people who may not have heard of you, although I'd be surprised, can you tell the listeners a bit about yourself, your athletic background and how you got into running?
Sure. I actually started off as a ballerina. So for the so from about 5, the whole way through school, I did ballet and I ended up doing it professionally. So I was at the Aussie Ballet as well.
Wow.
And then I guess I progressed into running. I kind of didn't have a choice. Growing up, my parents were both runners. My dad was really, really good. And I guess kind of through osmosis, I picked it up. And it started off just as a bit of fun. And then, I didn't really race until maybe like 2 years ago. And then I kind of thought racing's pretty fun. And
so what sort of distance races did you start with?
Oh gosh, my very first running race was the Great Ocean Road Marathon, and that was back when I was in my early 20s. That was a really good experience, that one. I kind of went in with no pressure, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I remember people kept asking me, what sort of time do you want to run? And I was like, maybe sub 4 hours. And did that race with no Garmin, nothing, didn't know what I was doing. And I ended up running it in 3:13. So I was, that was my first.
I think running without a Garmin can be a good thing.
Yeah, totally. And that was a long time ago now too. And then, I sort of had a long break from running for a while, a few injuries, a few niggles. And then, started trail running maybe about 2.5 years ago and really, really loved that. And then, signed up for a few races. I don't think I've done heaps, but...
So how did you find out about trail running? Did you meet people who were doing them or...?
Probably through social media, I'm going to say. My first trail race was Gold Rush.
Oh, yeah.
Out at and then what did I do next? And then I did 2 bays after that. That was my first big one and sort of went into that pretty underprepared, and I ran that in just over 6 hours. So it's a big PB for me.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. So when was the first time you ran 2 bays?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay. And do you think having been a ballerina, gives you better, balance for the trails and, and leg strength and all that sort of stuff and coordination?
I wish I could say that, but I suck so bad at technical stuff. No, if anything, I think it sets you up really well for solid work ethic.
Yeah.
A respect for your body as well. Like you learn how to hurt doing ballet too.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's a physical endeavor, but you have to make everything look pretty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Smiling through the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
So so was this the second time you ran 2 bays, or have you run it in the
No, that was the second time I ran 2 bays.
Yeah. So you've just run it and run a PB and won it in a time of 5 hours and 15 minutes. So that's nearly an hour PB.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Can you talk to us about how the race went? Did you go into it hoping to win, or hoping to PB, or what was your race strategy?
Yeah, so it was probably a little bit of a last minute sign up. I thought I might be at the pointy end of the competition, but I didn't know as well. I'm sort of feeling my way through running at the moment and just working out how far I can push myself, what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, what I need to work on. So yeah, I actually had no idea what time I might run. I knew what I'd run 2 years ago, and I just wanted to go out there and have a crack and run a fairly even race, and just sort of go as hard as I could and see where that finished me.
And do you feel that you did run an even race, like with your effort, it was even?
So going into the race, my strategy probably changed a little bit. I went in with a couple of niggles, a couple of hamstring niggles. And I think my original plan was probably to run the first half a little easier, but knowing that my hamstrings were niggly, I didn't know what I would have in the back half. So I probably went out a little bit harder, and that worked out okay for me. The back half was pretty hard. I was in a fair bit of pain. Yeah.
So because I've had hamstring issues before, and I find that downhill hurts, and like when you trip on roots and that, and you put your foot down. So were you having those sorts of issues?
Nice little bit of knife pain. Downhill was actually a little bit better. It was almost whenever I had to change my rhythm. So when you get hit with the stairs and you've got to change that muscle action, that's when I ran into trouble a little bit. But the mind is pretty strong, and I just kept pushing. I didn't know what the start of the race would feel like either. So going in, I think I'd run once that week, and I just really focused on resting and trying to let everything settle. So standing on the start line, I had no idea what my body was going to feel like. I didn't know if the first 2Ks were going to be pain-free or if the whole race was. And unfortunately, the first couple of steps hurt. So I knew I was in the long haul, but I don't know, it's still such a privilege to be out there running and racing, and you just try and embrace the moment and have a really good time out there.
So can I ask how you push through that when so many people would go, oh, well, clearly it's not my day, or, blah, 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 or, I'll take it easier. How, I know from your ballerina days that would have helped, but what goes through your head to help you work through that?
Yeah, so I was really lucky. I had a great support crew. My parents came down to watch, so they were at every aid station. So I was just like, get to the next aid station, get to the next aid station. And also, I was just hungry. I just wanted to do the best that I could. I wanted to see how far I could push my body, and I wanted to have a crack. And I also knew that this could be the last time I was going to run for a while. I suspected I would be out injured for a while, so I thought, let's just make the most of it.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's how I got there. I also had on the back half, I was lucky enough to run with somebody that kept me company and kept the positive vibes flowing.
Who was that?
And also first name Disco, last name Jules.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and what else? Or maybe some ibuprofen at about 40 Ks. That helped a lot.
It did help?
Yeah, I think so. I remember at about 40 Ks, it wasn't just my hamstrings, so it was all up in my lower back as well. And the ibuprofen helps the lower back pain. Maybe not so much the hamstrings because that's more tendon, but we got
and
there.
I mean, I look, I know we don't promote using ibuprofen, but I guess that was towards the end of the race. So, and you were obviously hydrated and know what you're doing and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I was desperate.
Yeah, there's that too, probably. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Now, you won the Prom 44K 6 weeks or so before that. Did you have hamstring issues then, or did it come up in between?
I've had left hamstring issues that I've managed for about a year now, but my other hamstring had been fine. So this is part of the problem, I think. I ran Wilson's Prom, didn't have a down week, didn't take enough rest time, and just kept pushing because I won that and I was excited about maybe signing up for 2 days and I just wanted to go. And that probably didn't, that was to my detriment.
Well, not completely, obviously, because you won. So did your win at the Prom convince you to enter 2 bays, did it?
A little bit, yeah. There were a few comments from people that I respect that said a runnable trail is probably going to work really well for you, and there is probably no more runnable trail than 2 bays.
Exactly.
Yeah, and having done it before as well, it's nice to run it again and compare and see where you're at, if you've improved. And obviously I had.
Yeah, well, very definitely. And so Carolyn Gavin came second, and she won it last year. Did she push you in this?
So much, like, respect to her. She went out hard at the start. And I love that in a runner too, when they run aggressively. Like, it was not easy to run a negative split, but to kind of go hard from the start, like, that's aggressive, and I like that. So she led for the whole of the first half, and then coming back, I caught her going up one of the climbs, and then we sort of leapfrogged for a bit there. She pushed me so hard, and towards the end, in the last 6 Ks, I think I knew I was in front, but I had no idea how far in front I was. And she's a bloody good runner. So I ran scared, and even like that last finish shoot, I was just expecting her to blast past me. I think I've got it.
Running scared is a horrible feeling, but it really pushes you to achieve your best, I reckon.
Yeah, it does. No, she ran really well, and had me running scared.
So you talked about 2 bays being runnable trail, and it definitely is. It's a trail race, but it suits road runners. Do you find that you're better at sort of easy trail, or do you like technical? What is your strength when it comes to trail running?
Yeah, I'm sort of working all that out at the moment. I like the runnable trails. Technical downhill definitely needs a lot of work. But I do love getting out to some of those great places too, and having those big days out, like the Grampians and Lurdy, and that's been really fun. So I'm happy to play around with training a bit, try some different things, see what works, what doesn't work. And it's a good way of working on your weaknesses too.
Yes.
Making you a good round runner. Yeah.
And so during the race, what did you do for nutrition and hydration?
So I think I got through 6 gels.
Is that all?
And about 2 water. Yeah, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had other stuff with me, but I didn't need it. I'm a big fan of eating a lot the day before. I know that's not for everybody because you can feel a bit heavy and blah, but I love it. It's my eating day. I'm pretty sure I put away about 1 kilo of Rocky Road the night before.
Yes, I read that in one of your posts.
Fast, yeah.
Yep. So you eat by feel?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Although that's kind of hard in a faster race, I think, because I don't really feel like eating for any of it. Right. And that's why gels work well for me or during a race or a run where you're going quickly, because you can just kind of get them down.
Because the male
Yeah.
winner, I spoke to him yesterday and he was saying, Matt was saying that he was having gels every 20, 25 minutes or whatever it was. Like he was timing it and sticking to a schedule. But you obviously don't do that quite so much.
Not yet, but it could be something I look at doing and working on as well. Yeah. But man, did you see the time he ran?
I know, right?
So well.
Yeah,
Crazy
definitely.
good.
So what was your training like for this race?
Yeah, I had a really good block going into it. So I think it was a good solid 12 weeks. Average Ks per week was probably 100 to 130.
Yep.
2 weeks before, I had a really good week down in Hobart. So that was great. I think that was about 130 Ks and heaps of elevation too. And it was just fun being somewhere different.
Yeah.
I do strength training, so twice a week.
Yep. That's great. I think that's so important.
Yeah, it is. It just sort of helps to keep those niggles at bay and again, just identifying what your weaknesses are, working on those and making you a better all-round runner. Yeah, so strength training twice a week, like fairly big mileage, I guess. Obviously the 10 days, like I was saying to you before, going into 2 days, I had to back right off due to a couple of hamstring niggles.
But do you think that actually made you fresher perhaps?
Yeah, an enforced taper.
Mm.
Yeah, to some degree, but I could feel that I hadn't run for a while, sort of at the start of the race. But I guess you have 56 Ks to warm into it as well. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that sort of taper again. But like they say, it's better to go in underdone than overdone. So perhaps it did work in my favour.
Yeah. And so do you do speed work and that sort of stuff or tempo runs?
Yeah, I did. And COVID actually forced me into that. So before that, I didn't really have a set schedule for my running. And then I did start including that. And I'd have a tempo or a threshold session, and then I'd do some shorter intervals. And that's when I really started noticing huge improvements in my running. Like my times were just dropping. And it will be something.
So before that, you just ran by feel?
Yeah, pretty much. I maybe lacked a little bit of self-belief. I didn't think that I could be a good runner. But so when COVID hit, just having a schedule and sticking to it and sticking to those 2 speed sessions, it really helped. But before that, just running for fun, getting out to beautiful places and enjoying it. Yeah.
Do you think do you think the speed work also perhaps contributed to the hamstring?
Yes, but only through lack of glute strength. Probably me not doing enough glute strength exercises and building that symmetry within the body that you kind of need if you're running huge kilometre weeks. Yeah. But no, I think, if you want to run fast, you need to do fast training too.
Yes, no, I completely agree. And you were speaking just before about, warming up into the 56 Ks. For a race like that, do you do a warm-up?
No,
you just
I didn't do a
bang off the line.
Yeah, like I don't know, maybe a few nervous twitches. No.
Do you get nervous before a race?
So nervous. Yeah, I do. I don't know why. I think I just put a lot of pressure.
Yeah, of course. And does it disappear once you start, or does it continue for a bit?
I'm going to say probably the first 10 Ks of 2 days I felt nervous. And then it abated. But I'm definitely a nervous sort of person.
Well, and it shows that you care, that you want to do well. So,
Yeah, I think so.
So it's a good thing. If you weren't nervous, that's probably not a good thing, if you ask me anyway. So do you have a high point you can share with us from the race and possibly even a low point if you do? I mean, you might not.
Probably like the high point was definitely crossing the finish line. Like, to me, looking back, that still feels so surreal. It's something that I never thought would happen. But also, like, seeing friends and family along the way, it gave me more lift than ever have realised. So my parents' faces popping up, and then being able to run the back half with somebody as well, that kept me going. Like, that was pretty special to be able to share that. Low light was definitely at 40 Ks when the pain in my lower back kicked in.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I had a little bit of a cry. But yeah, you just got to keep a positive mind frame, I guess, and just head down and keep going. Like I said before, it was just so good to be out there with other people, being able to race. And as much as you can complain about injuries and niggles or the day not going how you wanted to, like, it's a privilege.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID has certainly made us realise how awesome it is to be able to race.
Yeah, so much. And be around other people as well. Yeah. There's plenty of places that don't have that.
No,
and be allowed to travel to go and race. Like, it wasn't that long ago, I couldn't even do that.
Yeah, well, that's right, within our 5K zone. How did you cope with that?
Yeah, well, I was a little bit different because I'm from Geelong.
Oh, okay.
So our lockdown wasn't quite the same as yours.
Yeah.
But, like, I was okay with it. As soon as you get your head around it and you go, it's okay, I'm just going to have to stick to the road stuff for a while. Like, there's positives to take out of that too. So, yeah, like, I did okay with the lockdown.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, you know, we spoke about how crossing the finish line in first place was your high point. Can you explain to us, because, you know, a lot of people won't get that opportunity, what it feels like to cross as the first female?
I'm going to say relief was a big one. Those last, 2 kilometres, I think I said in a post as well, were just like microwave minutes. Like,
yes, the longest minutes on earth.
Yeah. It was relief, and then I don't know if I can say this, but like pride. I was proud of myself for pushing through that pain. Like, it was a slog. It was a hard run, probably one of the hardest runs I've done. So I was proud, and I was really grateful as well to have such a good support crew around me and people wishing me well.
Yeah.
No,
well, you did really well, and I think you should be proud.
Thank you.
And how did it compare, feeling wise, like when you ran, just in general, how did it compare to the first time you ran 2 days, other than the hamstring issues, obviously?
The first time I ran it, I was a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
And I just had no idea about trail running as well. I was pretty experienced. And I do remember, though, the first time I ran it, being so proud of my time as well, of what I achieved, because like 56 Ks
That's
is
still
a long
great
way.
time.
Yeah. But this was a completely different experience as well. Like, I went in wanting to have a crack and thought I might be a chance at the podium as well. So there was a little bit more pressure. But yes, still such good memories for both of them. Just very different experiences.
So now you were saying that you were thinking that you probably will have to have some time off running. Does it look like that's what's going to have to happen?
Yeah, definitely. I've tried a couple of runs since then, and it just doesn't feel right. The pain isn't great. So I'm going to work with my osteopath, get back on board with the strength training, but also just give my body some time to heal. Like, it's a big race. It's a runnable trail race. So I think it takes a lot out of you. So
I would definitely agree.
Time to eat and sleep and rest and do all the fun things and regroup. Get over the niggles, and then maybe have a think about what could be next.
Yeah. So would you do some cross training and that sort of stuff?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like, when I say rest, I mean rest from running. So
I knew what you meant.
Nothing. So I'll jump on the bike. I'll probably do some swimming. yeah, get back on board with the strength training because I really enjoy that.
Yeah. I like strength training too. A lot of runners don't, and I don't understand that. I think it's I quite enjoy it.
It doesn't give you the same endorphin rush.
No. Yeah, that's true.
But it makes you feel strong and it makes you feel powerful, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would agree. As a ballerina, did you do a lot of strength training?
Yeah, most of it is strength training. Like a tiny bit would be aerobic, but it's all those like micro muscles that you're working and teaching day in, day out. Like most of it is strength work. We're just strong in a different sort of way, I think.
Yeah. And ballerinas would focus a lot on flexibility. Would you find that that's not so necessary for running?
Yeah.
As in you don't want to be too flexible.
Exactly. Yeah, I have to be careful with that. I think having done ballet for so long, my body moves in a different way to other people, and I probably am a little bit more flexible, and that's why it's so important for me to do my strength work so that the muscles can support the range of movement. But yeah, ballet is such an interesting one, isn't it? You need everything. Yeah, strength, artistry, and flexibility.
Well, they say it's one of the like the hardest sports, you know, and ballerinas or, you know, are one of the fittest athletes, basically.
Yeah, it's hard going.
Yeah,
it's really tough, especially from a young age.
No temptations to go back?
Oh no. I'm done with that. Yeah.
So in your training, what was the longest run that you did? Was it the 44K at the prom as part of your training?
Yeah, it was. And apart from that, I don't think I did many runs that were over 30Ks.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is different to how I've ever trained before. I was always like, your long runs have to be really, really long. But this time, I did it very differently. So the speed work was important. Learning to hurt on your tempo or your thresholds was really important. And still getting out on the trails, running the hills, not just hiking them. Yeah.
It's easy to get into the hiking hills mode, which is useful for some races, but definitely not for 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to run it quickly, you need to be able to run the hills. Yeah.
And so what caused this change in your training? Was it just the COVID effect, or, you know, why did you reduce your long run length?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was also sort of dictated by my personal life a little bit too. So what I had time to do, where I was, what I was doing. And I was probably just lucky that it worked in my favour. If I was training for 2 days again, I might have done some longer runs, but I didn't always get the opportunity to.
Yeah, well, sometimes less is more, so they say.
Yeah.
So in regards to your training as well, like a lot of people focus on nutrition and that sort of thing. Do you follow any particular nutrition style or not?
I feel like I'm pretty balanced. I'm pretty good during the week, but then I'm not afraid to have fun as well. Like I love a dirty cheeseburger.
That's good.
And I just think, I think that's so important to have that balance there and to enjoy life, because if you're so perfect and you make your life all about running, if it's ever taken away, you kind of have nothing and you forget how to enjoy life. So I'm pretty balanced with what I eat. I think I do notice though, like if you don't eat well for a day, like the inflammatory response for me is pretty huge. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but like I just feel it in my joints, and it's definitely not something I do every day. But
and I agree with you. I think you want to be able to live life. Not everything should be hard work, including your diet. You know, I mean, you work hard in the running, and
food is fun.
Yeah, I agree. Half the reason I took up running, to be honest.
Same.
So, you said you're going to think about what's next. What is next for you?
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I've had a few people ask me this. I think I'm going to see how long it takes my body to heal, then have a look at the racing calendar, play around with some training and see what feels good, see what works for me. I'm really not sure, and I promise you I'm not being cagey with that answer. I don't know.
So do you
A
think you'll
while
stick
ago,
with the with the ultras or sort of marathon distance?
Yeah, I feel like at the moment I sort of like that 50K distance.
Yeah.
Further down the track, I definitely like to do an ultra. Some of me does like the idea of working on speed at the moment while I still have it.
Yeah.
Like a sub 3 hour marathon calls as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
think and a sub 3 hour marathon really transfers, the speed transfers over to a 50K as well.
it does. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I
think,
have at it.
yeah, I think that's a good goal because it will work in your favor for everything. So when you say an ultra, are you thinking maybe at some point in a few years, maybe 100K, 100 miler?
I think so. I think I'd like to try it.
Mm.
I don't mind trying different things.
I think with your mindset, the longer races would be good because you're strong mentally.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to have a play around with it and have a bit of a look.
Yeah.
What are you doing next?
I'm planning. I've got an FKT planned for April because I can't go to Barclay, and so that's about 280 kilometres. But then a last man standing race later in the year. So I'm into the long stuff.
Yeah, cool.
My sub 3 hour marathon days are behind me. Unfortunately, they're just a memory.
You have bigger things to conquer now.
Yeah, well, you have to change your goals. It's like once you've done one thing, you have to find a new goal. I personally find, are you a bit the same like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just fun trying different things and seeing what you enjoy and, being open-minded to different experiences.
Yeah, and I certainly find, and you'll probably find this, well, you might approach it differently, but doing the sub 3 hour marathon, that was so incredibly painful that running on the trails was just so much more attractive.
Yeah, true.
So, but you might find you love it and you want to keep going with that. But I think you've got to give it a crack. It's worth giving it a crack.
I think so. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's right. And so you're having some time to recover, and then you're going to focus on finding something next. So hopefully we can follow on and see what you're doing. Where can people follow you if they're interested in seeing what's next for you?
I'm on Instagram a little bit, so that's under my name at Tegan Geall, TEGANGEALL.
Yeah,
and that's about the only form of social media I'm on, or Strava.
Yeah, which is unusual in this day. Why is that you're not all over it?
All over. I probably was for a while, and then I don't know. I lost interest in it, I guess, and maybe put my energy into other things. Yeah. I don't want to sound too cheesy, but being present in the moment in other areas of life. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's not cheesy at all. I think it's very valid and important. So good on you.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, I'll put your link to Insta if you're happy with that, so people can follow you.
Fine.
And I'll put that in the show notes. All righty. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and congratulations once again on your race. It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks, Izzy.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.